Yeah, it's counting down.
Oh,
It's a go.
all right.
Go Team
Yeah.
Blue.
Welcome back, friends. This is our fifth Cindy and
Cinco.
Shar's B2 podcast,
Hmm.
and we are born in the 70s, raised in the 80s, influenced by the 90s. I am Cindy.
I am choked up. I am Shar. Wow, that was
Excellent.
terrible.
And we are
Great
here
start.
to
Great start.
we're here to reminisce with you. So of course, first things first, what are you drinking, Shar?
First things first. Well, clearly I did not wait because as soon as we were on, I was taking a drink from it. But so I have something local. Um, I don't know if you went to Total Wine or something, maybe they'd be able to order it for you. But I have my fancy cooler. I have a ruby ale from McMiniman's.
Oh, McMinimans. I went there with
Mm-hmm.
you.
Yes, you did. They're really cool places, but they're ruby. It's kind of like a raspberry ale. They're
Okay.
delicious. It's one
Hmm.
of my favorites. So if I'm going to have a beer, I like to have one of these. So
Oh, okay. So this is not new for you.
this is not new. I've had it before. I know I said I was going to try to do something new each week, but I had brought home a 4-pack of these, and I
Okay.
don't want them to go bad. So I'm
Okay.
having this tonight. So what are you drinking?
Well, funny story. I actually have two again, which was not the plan, but we went to Sam's today and they
Uh-huh.
have their fresh squeezed orange juice, but then today they had fresh lemonade that they made and they were giving
Oh.
samples and it was delicious and just like, what is this? Just juice and sugar. And she said yes. And I was like, I mean, it's really good, but what am I going to do with a whole jug of lemonade?
Right.
And
Make
so
drinks.
well, yeah. So I started to walk off and she goes, yeah, this other lady earlier said, oh, I'm going to take this home and mix it with vodka. And I said, well, isn't that a great idea? I will take one. So I mixed it with my blueberry vodka
Yum.
with lemonade. And I put a little bit of Sprite and I have it in my mule cup, which isn't really technically correct, but it's delicious.
Yeah, we went over that last week. That or oh wait, yeah, I thought it was whiskey, and you said it was vodka or gin.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm drinking now. That's what I've been drinking before we decided to do the podcast tonight. However, I have a surprise drink. I don't know what it is. So Chris was in Texas. He went to Total Wine. He got me a whole bunch of things to try on the podcast as little surprise
Oh,
ones.
it
So
looks like it almost looks like a high noon, which is I think the drink I had last week. Except no, I think yeah,
I don't know.
the can
So
is.
should I taste it first and then?
That's a good idea. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay. So
Taste
I
it
don't know what it
first.
is. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. I'm so excited for you. Oh, I wish I was there tasting it with you. What does it smell like?
I think it smells like beer.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
maybe.
Isn't that a slim cooler?
Hmm.
Beer doesn't normally come in slim.
It tastes like a beer.
Okay. What is it?
Watch, it's going to be so. I'll be so.
Oh, it's a blonde. It's a blonde
It is
beer.
Wild Acre Brewing Texas Blonde. Yeah, I was
Let me
right.
see the
It's a
can.
beer.
Oh, I like the can. That's fun.
It
So
has a
I
little
actually, oh
Oh,
yeah.
it says keep Cowtown funky.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Okay,
So
I like it.
I actually have two drinks too. Hold on.
Okay.
My other one is in this. I decided to fill an ice bucket with ice. It's just another ruby though.
Oh.
I almost put a high noon in there because okay, so funny. Sorry. Last week I had the high noon and I was like, you asked what other I think it was last week, and you asked what other
Hmm.
flavors, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I should have grabbed the peach one. I like peach better. And then I remembered the record before that, I had
You
the
had a peach
um
something.
the white claw that was peach, the vodka soda white claw that was peach. I'm like, clearly I like peach drinks. So I almost
Obvious.
grabbed the high noon, but I was like, well, I'm already drinking the beer, so what's that saying? Something liquor before beer, never sicker, beer before liquor, stop being a bitch, just drink. Something like that.
Something like that, definitely. Um, Okay, so tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about when we were little, growing up in our small Northern California town. Just playing outside. I see things about like, ooh, you used to drink out of the hose
Oh my God.
outside. Uh, did you not have a sink with a cup? Yeah, I mean, sure, inside, but you really weren't allowed inside. So you
Right.
had to stay outside and play. And as soon as we got home from school, you
Hmm.
immediately had to change into your play clothes. I'm
Oh,
assuming that
yes.
was the same as
Oh,
for you.
absolutely.
Mine, when I was little, was I swear it was made out of like wash rag material, but it was a little one piece that you pulled
I
up
remember those.
with the
Yes.
little straps that you tied right
Yes.
here.
Yes.
My favorite one was green with yellow little piping stripes around the bottoms.
Oh, yeah.
And it had, I think, elastic around the waist.
Yes. So I remember those too. They weren't all terry cloth. They were
Oh,
cotton
terry.
also because I had some of
Okay.
the cotton ones. Those, I think they still make those for adults, which I mean, they were super cute back then. So of course
It
they.
was kind of a pain in the butt if you waited till the last minute to go pee, though.
This is true. I got, which it's funny that when we were kids, I used to get every season a bag full of your hand me downs.
Yes. So you probably had the green.
Oh yeah, I'm
Maybe.
sure at some point it came to me after you.
Yeah.
Like you were our like local Goodwill. Like my mom just went to your mom and like
What
sure
do you
needs
got?
clothes.
What do you got?
Yeah.
Well, and that makes me think there's a band I like, Sir Sly, and he sings "Kick Your Shoes Off and Run," which we
Yeah,
did
that's
that
totally
back
like
then.
yeah.
And I had someone younger say, "Well, why would you kick your shoes off before you start running?" I mean, it didn't make sense to them. Which
Mhm.
I mean, we ran around barefoot all the time. I mean, it was
Mhm.
just freedom. Just kick them off, and you just take off and run and
Oh
play in the
yeah.
neighborhood all until it was dark.
Oh yeah. So I joke that I'm a part Billy Goat because I grew up with no shoes on,
Oh
running
yeah,
around like at the park or
120-degree concrete.
absolutely. So like there's a place local here in the Pacific Northwest called the Ape Caves, and they're actually caves that you can walk through like old lava tubes or something. And
Hmm.
you have to wear like a light. It gets dark, you can't see. And there's this one part where it's really treacherous. It's like a bunch of old lava rock, and you have to climb over it. And I was just like,
Hmm.
where everybody else is way back there. I'm like, what's taking you guys so long? And they're like, okay, are you part Billy Goat? Like, I have no
Possibly.
problem running over. Well, we would go to the river all the time as kids too. That was one of
Yeah.
my dad's favorite things to do is go to the river, go to the lake, and we would be running around with no shoes on. I
Yeah.
have a scar on my heel from where I stepped on a piece of glass. That was one of those times I got stitches that we were talking about last week.
Yes.
But yeah, we just ran around barefoot all the time. That was totally normal.
Do you remember jumping off the train trestle into the
Oh
creek?
yeah, oh yeah, Clear Creek, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. That was
So the one
crazy.
that was on Highway two seventy
Yeah.
three. Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I remember one time my cousin jumped off of it and she jumped with her arms straight out and jumped in. Oh yeah, yeah, like total, yeah. I
It
don't
would give
know.
like
Is that an arm belly flop? I don't know what that is, but
I don't
it
know.
was loud and her arms were bruised like on both sides. Yeah.
Uh,
We're like, tuck your arms in. She's like, yeah, she learned her lesson.
it would also give atomic wedgie when you would jump off there. Your swimsuit would be like,
Uh-huh. When Isaiah and I were in the Bahamas a couple years ago, we spent the day at Atlantis,
yeah.
the
Uh huh.
Atlantis resort, and there was a water slide that was a straight drop. My bathing suit bottom is, I don't know, it's probably still in my rib cage somewhere. It like went so far. And so when I got down to the bottom, I was like, like trying to find my bathing suit.
They probably watch. It probably happens to everybody, and they're
There
like,
are there are actually videos online of people like they lose their top, they lose their bottoms,
"Oh
or
yeah,
they're like it's so far up their behind that oh yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't even
I was
exist
like,
anymore."
I was one of them people. Yeah. Anyways.
Well, I just remember there were a
Mm-hmm.
couple of parks in our town, and the
Mm-hmm.
one by the river was
Mm-hmm.
so fun. I just remember every time I got to go to the park, my parents would barely just get the car parked, and you are out the door running towards the playground.
Oh yeah.
And
Do you remember the swing sets? They were
yes,
this scarecrow and
and the
the
Tin
Tin
Man.
Man, but they were
Yes,
like super creepy. It was their
yes,
arms that held the
yes.
swings.
I was just looking because I wanted to talk about these, and I found some pictures.
Oh, seriously?
Yep,
I
I
thought you
found
meant from
one with
our
the.
park.
I'll post the pictures on. Remember from kindergarten, the snail,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I totally remember that.
the eyeballs
Yes,
you would like sit
yes,
on. I was.
yep.
I remember what before I was 5, driving past school, and I could not wait to start kindergarten so I could ride on those eyeballs on that snail. It was like the
Right
best
on those
part.
eyeballs. Good thing you said eyeballs.
Yeah, eyeballs.
Okay, so
Fun.
here's a really funny story about the park. So remember, they would do the fireworks show from there every year because the
Yes.
river was right there. So they would set up on that little trail and they would do the fireworks. So
Mm-hmm.
that, well, do you remember on the opposite side of that trail, there was a little pond? It was
Yes.
a big pond.
Yeah.
So my every year we'd go there for 4th of July. It was a big thing. For sure we were there, but I'm sure plenty of my aunts and uncles and cousins, again, half the town was us. But my brother and I, my dad had a little 2-man raft and he would blow it up so that we could go play. My brother and I started charging people to
Oh,
take them out in the middle of the pond to
that's
watch
awesome.
the fireworks, and then we'd come back, pick
And
somebody
get
else
somebody
up
else.
and take. Yeah, yeah, we totally like did our own little entrepreneurial business
Hey.
where we were charging people for a boat ride in a 2-man raft.
Well, I went out there with you, but you didn't charge me.
I would, yeah, of course I wouldn't have tried. Oh, so you did that too? You
Yeah,
took that
yep.
ride? Oh,
Uh-huh.
okay,
I
yeah.
did. I did.
Mm-hmm.
And that same pond, I remember because we used to go fishing out there all the time.
Yeah.
I caught a fish by I hooked its eye, another eyeball. I hooked its eye, and so when I reeled it in, it was just like in its eye. Isn't that
Oh.
creepy? It's,
Oh, I was going to say I have another funny story about that park.
yeah.
Well, two. So the very first time I ever got a cast was from that park. So the spiral slide.
Yes.
So remember, it had a little cover over the very top of it,
Hmm.
and then you would slide down it. Well, we decided to get up on that cover and drop down and slide. So we were doing that, and I don't know, several times. Well, then I decided to take my shoes and socks off. Again, we always kicked our shoes off and we would play with no shoes on. So I decided to take my shoes and socks off, and I get up on there and I drop down, but this time my foot stuck. And that's the first time I didn't have a full cast though. I only had a half cast, but I had crutches and I was in 5th grade. I
I
remember that.
remember. I
Yep.
remember you
Yep.
in crutches. Yep.
Yep. So that was at the park. And then the other story that I have that I remember. So up on top of the hill, they had a bunch of picnic tables,
Uh huh.
and they had big long ones, and there were like 4 sets of them right next to each other.
Uh huh.
So my brother and I were jumping. We were on top of the picnic tables, jumping from one. We were just like doing this, jumping back and forth. So I go to jump to one and I missed and I landed. It like got me right in the chest. I landed on the edge of it, knocked myself unconscious.
Oh wow.
I wake up to my dad running with me to the I'm unconscious,
Oh.
I'm limp, and so I just woke up with my dad running with me,
Oh.
frantic. I guess he was gonna like drive me to the hospital because that's what you did back then. You didn't call an ambulance because that was way too expensive.
Right.
So my dad, but I remember waking up and then I remember like milking that, like they thought they were treating me like I was dying. So I thought maybe I was dying, even though I felt fine. I was like, well, apparently I'm supposed to be like, but that was at the park too.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what made me think about talking about the park in the first place was we went last night, we were somewhere and people were rolling down the hill.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember we used to, on that
Yes.
hill, we used
Oh
to
yeah.
roll and we didn't get itchy, right?
No. No.
Chris was asking
Whoa.
me,
Yeah, I did.
did
I
you?
got itchy. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm surprised you didn't because you had allergies as a
I know.
kid. Or when you would roll and then you would roll over that weed that had the sticker, the prickly,
Oh,
and then like you could never get them out for three
oh no,
days or four
no.
days. every time you touch yourself, you're like, ow, because there was like a needle in there.
Oh, yes.
They looked
Well,
fuzzy and friendly, but really they were not nice.
were
They
those
were
the ones
mean
that
weeds.
we'd throw at people and it would stick to them?
No, that was at the school. That was at the primary school. Those trees would drop those.
Yeah.
No, these were in the grass. It
Okay.
looked
The
like a
little small ones.
velvety weed thing, a weed that looks like a little plant. The leaves are nothing but stickers, but they're like tiny, fine little needles. It's not like a thistle sticker.
Huh.
Well, I rolled over probably 18,000 of them when I was a kid, so I very much remember this particular weed that was a vicious plant.
Well, back to talking about all the pieces of equipment back there. There was
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
creepy scarecrow and the Tin
yeah.
Man, but
Hmm.
the slide, I
Hmm.
mean, do you remember it would be like 110 degrees?
And it was
And
metal.
oh yeah, and you'd slide. I mean, especially if you didn't have your shorts pulled down far enough, your
Oh
thighs would be
yeah.
like,
Oh yeah. Well, we would use like our sweaters and sit
yeah,
on those and slide down the slide because,
yeah,
and also remember it was really wide where like 3 or 4 kids could go down at one time,
yeah,
and it had the little
or
bar above it so
yeah,
you could hang on to that and then go
yeah,
down.
and
Hmm.
then the swings. You remember jumping off of them?
Oh yeah.
You get really
Yeah.
high and then you jump, or
Who are
somebody
you
would run
talking
by
to?
and
Yeah.
you'd kick them because they run in front of you.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
So, or you had an older brother or cousins that would try to push you so hard that they wanted to flip you around so instead you just got so high and then fell out of the swing. And so you know what's really shocking? I had stitches. I can't even count how many times I had stitches as a kid. I am shocked that I did not have more broken bones.
What
The
did you ever
stuff that
break?
we did, well, my ankle that one time on the slide, which wasn't a full break, it was a fracture, so I only had a half cast and crutches. And then as an adult, I was in an accident and broke my hand.
I remember.
That was the only time I ever had an actual full cast, and I was in my 30s at that point. But it's shocking as a kid that I did not have more broken bones.
When I finally got out there to see you, you're like, please shave my armpit for me.
And then you went the wrong way. I'm like,
No,
no,
you
you
can go both ways.
not on mine.
I have a scary story about the park. So I looked it up today because I was wondering how far it was from my house.
Hmm.
And it
Hmm.
was a mile and a half to
Yeah.
walk from my house to the park.
Hmm.
I'm guessing I was probably about 14 ish. And I had gone to watch my boyfriend play soccer.
Hmm.
I was going to walk home, which I was allowed to. It was
Hmm.
fine. But my mom wasn't home. Nobody
Hmm.
was home. And so remember that long road that it was
Hmm.
on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
so
at
there
the end
was
was the church where you could ring the bell. You
yes,
weren't supposed to.
right. So I was walking on that road and there was a guy also walking further back, which whatever.
Hmm.
And folks, this was way before cell phones were even a thing
Oh
at
yeah.
all.
Yeah.
And so, so I'm walking and then I have to make a right on a main street, neighborhood street. And, he was back there and I mean, he was far enough that I couldn't really see who he was or his face or anything. I knew he was back there. And so then I turn on the main road and he turns that way too. And I'm just like, well, again, it's a main road. And then I turn into the next one, which is more my neighborhood. So after that street, that's my street. And so he turns there too.
Baby.
Well, he didn't look familiar. Like I grew up in
Hmm.
this neighborhood. I know everybody in this neighborhood and
Hmm.
I had never seen that guy. And so I was thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Because at home, I didn't have a key. I had to go into the backyard, get
Hmm.
the spare key, come back to the front of the house to unlock the
Hmm.
door.
Hmm.
And he would have caught up by then for
Hmm.
sure. And so I was just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? You're also thinking, you're rationalizing, like, oh, I'm just being silly. It's not
Hmm.
anything. So I'm walking, trying to think, like, what should I do? And Dana was
Hmm.
outside his house playing basketball. And I stopped and I was just like, hey, Dana, can I just hang out here for a minute and visit? Because this guy, I'm sure he's not following me, but let me just
It's
wait until
weird.
he passes. And he's
Yeah.
like, what guy? And mind you, Dana's like 6'7" in
Yeah.
high
Yeah.
school. And he's like, what guy? And
Was
I
it?
was
Wait,
like,
was he actually that tall?
yes, he's 6'7".
In high school, he was 6'7"
Oh,
too.
I don't know, but he
Oh,
is now.
okay. Okay.
Uh, he's like, what guy? Oh, he's back there. So we walk out to the road and we're both look there. And by then he's probably like, I don't know, 4 houses down away, maybe. And so he sees us and he stops and he looks around and he turns around and goes the other way.
You were almost on a milk carton, Cindy.
I know, that was so scary because I just assumed if he was going somewhere, if two people look at you, it's not like you're going to stop going where you're going.
Right. Yeah, no, that's creepy.
That was like one of the creepiest things that ever happened to me there. So
I
anyway,
was I
his
was not
mom drove
there.
me home.
Yeah. I remember that story. I wasn't with you, but I do remember
Right.
that story. There was a time in my life where I used to like to go running, and
Hmm.
I would always run down that road.
In the back, and you'd run in the
Oh,
back.
oh yeah, back there too. Well, me and my ex sister in law, but she's still my sister. Anyways, her and I used to go run back there, but I used to run on that main street. And my dad didn't like me because I would go at night,
Hmm.
whatever. I
I
don't
didn't like
remember.
that either. I
Yeah.
remember.
I mean, I was like, I maybe 17, 18.
I know.
I don't remember. Anyways, so my dad bought me, it was a little, because again, we didn't have cell phones or anything like that. So my dad bought me this little personal alarm. And so I would run with it. It was a little black square, almost like maybe a power block size. And you could pull a pin and it would be an alarm and it was
Okay.
loud. And there were these kids that it was a car full of boys that were just being complete jerks and they kept going back and forth. And I don't remember exactly how it led up to it, but they had pulled over and they were making comments or saying something. So I pulled the pin and threw the thing in through their sunroof into their car. And you couldn't get it to shut off without the pin. I ended up just running and like, but I'm sure they were frantic. First of all, trying to find this little box that's like it was like loud, and they couldn't turn it off without the pin. So I don't know whatever happened. They left me alone, but I never told my dad. I don't think I ever told my
Oh
dad
yeah,
I
he would
didn't
have
have the
freaked
little
out.
pin anymore, but or the little thing anymore. But I still had the little
Oh, like a strap.
wristband.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could wear it around your wrist, and then you just pulled the box off, and the pin would come out, and it was like,
Oh.
it was super loud. So I still had the little wristband with the pin, but I had no box. That, anyways. So we used to go pick blackberries out there all the time too, because that road
Yep.
was filled with blackberries. And my mom, remember the old Tupperware bowls,
Oh yeah.
like the big green, like the big bowls. My
Yep.
mom would tell me and my brother, if you fill this bowl, I will make you a blackberry pie. So we are like,
Oh.
okay. So we'd walk over to the park, and we would fill that bowl probably 5 times because we'd fill it and
You keep
eat
eating
it,
them.
fill it and eat it, fill it and eat it. But we would always come back from a full bowl. Well, now looking back on it, my mom, she was a trickster. She bamboozled us because that big bowl would probably make like 5 blackberry pies. So she
And
would
you
trick us
ate
into yeah, she would trick us into, oh, if you fill this bowl, that'll be enough to make a pie. Hmm.
four more.
Yeah, she would freeze them and I don't know, probably put them in her cocktails.
Right. Um, so the fair, I know we touched on the fair a little bit. The rides. Do you remember the Gravitron?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So one time Shar and I decided to ride the Gravitron, and if you don't know what that is, it's you go inside, it's enclosed, and
Looks like a
everybody,
spaceship.
yeah, it looks like a spaceship, and everybody is around the outside of the wall or inside, but
Hmm.
and you're supposed to just stand up, and I think you're strapped in a little bit
I
by
don't
your
even think you were
arms.
strapped in. You were just like on a board,
Oh, okay.
like a
And it would
trauma board.
spin
Yeah.
really fast, and it would go up and down like this, and it would spin.
Well, did the thing go up and down? Because the board would go up. You would start spinning so fast that the board would go up.
Oh, maybe it was
That's what
that.
it was doing. Yeah.
Well, and they told us make sure you keep your feet on the floor. So of course, Shar and I were like, we're like lifting our feet up a little, and we're looking at each other spinning, and we're lifting our feet up a little, and then all of a sudden, apparently, if you get them up too high, it goes, whoo, and so then our butts were just sticking out, and we could not get our feet back down because it was like the horse or whatever.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And I remember the guy even said, he was like, I told you to keep your feet down.
We don't listen, sir.
Right.
But you know, my husband would tell you today that I am so stubborn that if you tell me something, I'm like, I still have to like look it up or
Maybe I need
find
to
out
check
for
that out.
myself. Like I have to fact check everything. So that was just fact checking. Keep your feet down. Really? What happens? Well,
Right.
what happens is your feet end up over your shoulders and your ass is hanging out. That's what happens. So, okay, fact checked.
Oh,
Noted,
yes.
sir. Um,
Definitely. Definitely.
so the fair, I have a really funny story about the fair too. Of course, my brother and I, we were okay. I was a good kid, but I was very easily influenced by those around me, and my brother was probably the biggest influencer. So, and also I know that my brother watches our podcast. So, hi, boy. Anyways, so, oh yeah, your ex boyfriend.
Oh, yeah. We dated for like 1 minute.
Anyways, so they were setting up for the fair, and our fair was big. In our town it was the county fair, so it was big. It was a big production, big event, and we lived right down the street from the fairgrounds. So they were setting up for it, so we decided to go wander around and just check things out. So while we're walking around, we noticed a golf cart that was just left unattended, and it just so happened to have the keys in it.
Oh, no.
So my brother's like, get in. So I do. And I don't even know how old we were. We were not old enough to drive. I know that. Though it's easy to drive a golf cart unless you're my brother, like if
Oh.
you're an idiot teenager. So he's like doing burnouts and donuts. And I mean, he's driving it over curbs and like he ends up getting it stuck. Because remember the light poles had the big huge blocks of
Oh,
cement
yeah.
at the bottom of them.
Hmm.
He got it stuck on the bottom of the light pole, that big cement block. It was
Wow.
stuck on there. So he was like trying to reverse and go for it, and then we hear people, so we just got off and ran and left.
You
And
never
left
got
the
caught.
golf cart there. Yeah, we didn't get caught. But we left before we got caught. But
Do you remember one year, and I don't know if your brother was there, probably if we were doing this, but we snuck in. Remember the turnstiles
oh
that
yeah.
you had?
Mm-hmm.
And somehow we like got between. I'm so glad we didn't get stuck, like because all those
Yeah,
the
the
bars
little
would go through,
prong. Yeah, it was
and
like
we
yeah.
somehow got between, and
I
we
just
got
did
through.
this.
We weren't scissoring.
Those were bars. Those were the bars in the gate.
Right, right. Yeah. How about more like this?
Yeah, they were. I don't know. Whatever I just did was bad. We weren't doing that. It was the bars. It was
Right,
like a prison gate almost. The turnstile and all the
right,
bars went through, and this
right.
one went this way.
I think there was one missing or something, so we like
Or we were
we
probably so skinny back then that we were able to just squeeze through it.
probably that could be too.
Yeah.
Do you
Did
remember one
we
time?
snuck into the actual fair or just the
Yeah,
fairgrounds? Oh, okay.
no, into the fair.
Oh,
So
okay.
then we didn't
Yeah.
have to pay.
Mhm.
Um, do you remember you won tickets off the radio to a dance at the fairgrounds?
Oh, was it a dance? I
Hmm.
thought it was a concert.
No, it was a dance, and we were like just dancing with people, and I
Did
think they
we
were
do
probably
our
adults.
move where you laid
No,
down and I jumped over
no,
you?
we did not do our move.
Oh, what about the one where you jumped onto my shoulders? Did we do
No, we
that
did
one?
not do
No,
that
no.
either.
Okay.
No,
We just did normal dancing like
uh, maybe.
okay. Okay.
But at the fair, it was really cool because there would be all the exhibit halls. Your friends from FFA
Yep.
be showing their animals, and then
Mhm.
like, people like my mom entered her quilts that she made, and
Mhm.
she won that year. She won like grand first, second, and third because she won all of
Oh.
them. Yes,
Yeah. Wow.
and then like pies and
Yep.
jellies, and I think there was art too.
I know
Like
what story you're going to tell.
I don't know what story I'm going to tell.
The hot tubs?
I don't remember. What is it? Tell.
Oh my God, how you're gonna remember this.
Okay.
So we were at the fair and there were the hot tubs were at the exhibits. And so they had hot tubs set up with water in them where they were doing the bubbles. And the guy's like, do you remember now?
No. But I could see where I could probably.
Yeah, the guy's like, do you guys want to jump in? And we're like, okay. So we jump in and you were wearing white shorts. You don't remember this?
No.
Oh my God, Cindy. Yeah. So we were at the fair and they were like, do you guys want to jump in? We're like, okay. So we jump in and you get out and you can just see everything because you were wearing white shorts. I can't believe you forgot that.
No, I'm glad I forgot it.
Yeah. Who does it? I think I accidentally joined the Air Force at the fair one time. There was a family I babysat for, and he had been in the military. And I went over to their house to babysit after one day at the fair. And I was like, I think I joined the Air Force. And he was like, what? He's like, show me. He's like, what did you show me everything? He's like, give me all the. Clearly, I didn't actually join the Air Force, but apparently I showed an interest. I don't know. They were giving away cool free stuff, and I wanted it. So I was like, where do I sign?
Is that the same family that when we were at that Mexican restaurant sharing a bowl of margaritas, they were very concerned about us?
And they sent the oldest son over
to come check on us.
She wants to know who's driving home. It was me and my cousin. So me and my cousin were roommates. We lived in an apartment. And you would come over all the time. And I think he had a little bit of a crush on you, which worked out in our favor because he had a good job. So he would always take us to dinner and 2 in the morning. We'd go to Denny's.
We'd come home, get in our pajamas, and then we'd go to Denny's.
Yeah. So we were at the Mexican restaurant on the river, and they were there also. And me, you, and him were sharing. It was literally like punch bowl size. Yeah. And it was a margarita. With 3 straws. Very long straws. And
we're like, remember he went to the bathroom and we're like, let's try to drink all of it before he gets back.
Yeah. So that's when she sent the oldest kid over to Mom wants to know who's driving home. And this was way before Uber. I don't even think we had taxis in our town. Like it was either you drove or you walked. Yeah.
Or you
Do you remember the one time being at one of the little bars and my parents showed up and my dad bought us drinks all night?
Yes.
So I tell people about this to this day. That is one of my most fun memories. It was so much fun. So we worked at the pizza place and there was a guy there who had a huge crush on me. He walked with a little bit of a limp. Do you remember him?
Yeah, I think I do.
Okay, yeah.
Hey, Shark. I think I
do. Okay, so me, you, him, and another one of his friends. I think there might have been several of us out, but we were at this bar.
Take my strong hand.
Stop.
Okay.
So it happened to be, it was a little dive bar, but it had been in our town for a million years. And that's one of the places that my parents used to go to. So we're out that night and all of a sudden my parents walk in and I'm like, oh dear God, like worst case scenario. We were old enough. We were 21. So we were old enough to be at a bar, but I'm like, oh, how embarrassing. Oh no, it was the best night ever. So my dad, like we were playing pool and my dad kept buying us drinks and that was so much fun. Yes. That's a very, very fun memory because my dad, passed away just a few years after that. So that's always to this day, I tell people about that story. Like that was one of the most fun nights out I ever had.
Yes.
So much fun.
I love your parents.
Yeah. But I remember also my dad's like, so which one of these boys? And I'm like, that one has a crush on me. He's like, no. I'm like, agreed.
Agreed.
He was a nice guy, but not my type.
No.
Mm-mm. He worked at a gas station.
Oh, that one.
The one that was next to the carpet place. Right over the railroad tracks.
I was thinking of someone else.
Were you?
Yeah.
telepathically tell me who you were thinking. See, this is one of mine and Cindy's fun
Superpowers.
superpowers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is we can talk without talking. Do you remember the time we were in the mall when you had first started dating your husband?
Yep.
And well, ex-husband.
Right.
But we were in the mall and he's like, wait, I know what you guys are talking about. Because we didn't
like,
say
that was
anything.
like 4 things ago.
We're like, that was 5 people ago. He thought he knew he was keeping up with us. It's like,
Yeah, I know.
You're not keeping up with the B2s.
All we have to do is be like, and then you already know.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know who you were thinking.
So there was one that you worked with, and then
Yeah.
there was the other one was the one I was thinking about that also had a limp.
Text it to me.
Okay. So.
Oh, it just came through. Hold on. That's the same person, Cindy.
No, there was the guy that worked at the pizza parlor with you that would deliver the pizzas.
Oh! That was not him that was there. Yeah, no, yes. Okay, I thought you were doing something else. Wow,
No.
I'm rusty. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes, no. The older gentleman,
Yes.
that was the
Yeah.
Yeah, he was not there. No, he
Right,
was
that's
not
why I
there.
was-
No. It
Okay.
was this one that you just said.
Okay.
That,
Yeah.
Yes. And that I thought you were doing this, which
Oh,
did
no.
you not see that?
I have I have my thing right there. No.
Yeah, okay.
So, hey, do you remember that one boy that liked you and he stole a stop sign for you?
Do you remember also I decided to cut his hair for him and I couldn't get it even, so it kept going higher and higher. And then my mom came home and I was like, Mom, I think you need to fix this. And she's like, what the hell did you do? And I was like, I just thought I could trim it. And she's like, do not ever try to cut somebody's hair again. But I do remember that. Yeah. He did steal me a stop sign too.
Here's something that...
And his family drove a Peugeot.
A Peugeot.
Yeah, the car.
Do you remember having pet rats?
We had one.
I know.
Yeah,
So did I. Here in Oklahoma, I tell people that you'd like have a rat on your shoulder and you'd go in the store and sometimes they didn't want a rat. And so you'd like let it crawl in your shirt.
Oh, yeah.
People here they were thinking I was absolutely insane about that.
Oh,
it was the coolest thing to have the rat. Like it was so cool to have a rat on your shoulder.
We took our rat to Grumpy's pet store because Santa was there and you could get your pet's picture taken with Santa. So we have a picture of Bud Rat.
Yeah.
With a picture with Santa. That rat, we would leave the door open on her cage and she would get out and run around. And then at night we'd say, Bud Rat. And she would actually come running and we'd put her back in her cage. And
do you remember when we were jumping on your bed with Bud Rat and then she pooped and we're like, we scared the poop out of her.
Yeah.
Because we were jumping and she's like, boing, boing.
Yes. I remember we were at my aunt's one time and they had a kitten and we put the kitten in a blanket and we were like doing the parachute thing and it ended up hurting its foot. And my aunt had to take it to the vet and we all got in trouble, which looking back now, it was a terrible idea, but we thought it was so funny. So looking back, I realized, again, my brother was a bad influence. He had bad ideas. Like, this will be fun. Okay. And it's like, I don't know that this is fun. Happened all the time.
Oh, okay. So do you have any trivia for us?
I do have some trivia.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm getting a second beverage.
I'm just drinking on both.
That's what I was doing last week. I was like, I'm going to have one and then the other. Well, one of them was super strong. I was like, well, I can't drink this. And then I rewatched the recording. And I was like, yeah, I drank that all the way through the recording. So much for leaving it till the end.
Right.
Okay. So the trivia is going to be kind of a hodgepodge. It's going to be some TV, some movies, but I think it'll be fun trivia. It's not like a specific topic, but
okay.
So do you remember the show Alf?
I do.
Okay, the alien that lived with the
Yeah.
family and he
Yeah.
liked to
With
eat
the sun. Yeah.
cats.
Yes.
Yeah. So, do you remember what ALF stood for?
I do. Alien
Oh,
life form.
oh, good job. Good job. You are correct. Ding, ding, ding.
We
Okay.
won't try to do sound effects.
And no, not electronic ones. I can do them
Yeah.
with my mouth. You want to hear me beatbox?
We used to do that all the time.
Yeah, I'm kidding. We're not going to do that today. We're running out of time. We don't have
Yeah,
time for
right.
that.
Thank God.
Okay. Remember Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember what kind of dog attacked Ed Rooney, the
It was a
principal?
Rottweiler.
It was a Rottweiler.
Yeah.
Good
We
job.
actually just went and watched that at Flick's Brew House
Oh,
like
really?
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
It's a great movie.
I know. That's why we went and watched it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so do you remember the movie Caddyshack
I
with
do.
Bill Murray?
Yeah.
What character was he trying to kill?
Oh, a gopher.
Yeah, these are super easy. Okay, let's try to get a little bit harder.
That's what she said.
And okay, so last week we talked about MTV.
Mhm.
Remember? Which 80s movie was the first to become a huge, became huge mostly because of MTV? This one's kind of a little harder, but
Is it like maybe Encino Man? Like a Pauly Shore movie?
mm-mm, it's not.
Okay. Can I have a hint?
um, well, if you think about MTV in the 80s, it was about music. So the movie was about music and dance.
Oh, Footloose?
No, but you're closer.
I don't know.
Flashdance.
Oh.
So apparently that movie became a hit mostly because of MTV. The video,
Really?
remember the video where
I do. Yeah, with
she
the
pulls
water.
the water? Yeah. In The Breakfast Club,
Okay.
what character did Emilio Estevez play? It's a hard one.
I don't know his name, but he was the jock.
Hmm.
I don't know his name.
Andrew Clark. Bonus point. Do you know what year Breakfast Club came out?
87?
Ooh, you're so close.
86?
85. Well, I guess you weren't so
that
close.
close.
You were just close.
Okay.
Okay. Who played this? I think this one's going to be an easy one. This is one of my husband's favorite movies, but who played the Goblin King in Labyrinth?
That would be David Bowie.
Yeah. Year?
83?
Mm-mm.
How close
You're
am I?
close.
Okay.
Not so close.
85?
Oh, even close. You're hot. You're getting hot.
86.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I have two more. One's hard and one's really easy. Which one do you want?
Well, let's go with the hard one.
Okay. The hard one is who directed The Shining?
I know that it's based on Stephen King's book.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. Oh. I know that the hotel in Estes Park is what gave him his ideas,
Mm-hmm.
which we stayed there and it was haunted. So
Mm-hmm.
that's another
Mm-hmm.
story.
I've watched shows like the ghost shows, and so many of them go to that hotel. And it is haunted 100%.
Is it even a name I know?
Oh, yeah. This director is very well known.
I don't know.
Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, I did know that.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the easy one?
Do you know what year?
I would think that was more like, was it the 80s?
It was, but it was barely.
1980, I'm going to say.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Because I
Okay.
was thinking maybe the late 70s.
Yeah, it was 1980. Okay, the really easy one is in Ghostbusters, what is the name of the ghost in the library?
In the library. Is that,
I really think he's the only ghost.
right. He's the green one. Slimer?
Yep.
Okay, Slimer. I
Do
kept
you know what
thinking Booger.
year?
Ghostbusters.
Booger was Revenge of the Nerds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you
um,
know what year?
Ghostbusters. I'm going to say 83.
Oh, you're so close.
84?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, which way?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay.
So there's another question on here about Die Hard. So just one, I'm not going to ask you the trivia question, but I am curious. This is a very controversial thing. Do you know what I'm going to ask?
Yeah, you're going to ask me if it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to watch it at Christmas time, so I'm going to say yes.
Absolutely not. You're wrong. It is not a Christmas movie.
There are Christmas ornaments in it.
Listen, come for me, people. It is not a Christmas movie. And here's the thing: I know people that have like divorced over this topic.
That's silly.
I don't really know people that are divorced, but I know people that strongly feel that it is and that it isn't. It is not. Elf, Christmas movie. Christmas Story, Christmas movie. Die Hard is not a Christmas movie.
It's an action Christmas movie.
No.
Yeah, it is.
No.
If I want to watch it at Christmas time, then it's a Christmas movie.
Well, I guess that's true. That is true. The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, that would be a Christmas movie. What is your lineup of Christmas? So is that what you do on Christmas Day? Do you watch movies all day?
We have to watch Christmas Story.
Yeah. So,
obviously.
Okay, so Isaiah and I, that's what we do on Christmas morning. We open gifts and we have breakfast and mimosas, and then we just start watching movies all day. So what's your lineup of Christmas movies on Christmas Day?
We don't specifically have a lineup, but we have to watch Christmas Story.
Yeah.
That one's always, for sure.
Okay, so have you seen The Night Before? I think it's called The Night Before.
Or
with Gordon. Hold on.
I have not. Whatever it is, I have not seen it.
Not The Night Before Christmas. It's Joseph Gordon-Elliott.
I don't even know what you're talking about, so I have no idea.
Okay, but you know that person that I'm talking about, right? The Night Before. It's called The Night Before, and it has Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Seth Rogen, and Anthony Mackie.
Never heard of it.
Oh my God. Okay, add it to your list. It's hilarious. Okay. It's so funny. So that's one of in our lineup, we have Elf. I love that with
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell, thank you. The Grinch Who Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey. Christmas Story. Absolutely have to watch it every year. Last year we watched the sequel or the prequel. Yeah, the sequel. It was cute. It was cute. Because it was all the same characters. And The Night Before, we always have to watch that one also. My mom's favorite movie was Miracle on 34th Street. So I try to watch that one too. But usually after 5 Christmas movies, we're like, we're done. But we have our favorites every year. Elf, Grinch Who Stole Christmas, The Night Before, and Christmas Carol. It's Christmas Story.
Okay. Yeah, we pretty much just make sure we watch Christmas Story. So
yeah.
Other than that, it's just kind of actually at Chris's families, they just play Christmas Story all day. Oh, that's what they do all day, over and over. Christmas Story.
I watched the Yule log. I just put that up. Just watch that. Just kidding. All right. Well, I think this is probably our longest record yet. But hopefully everybody had fun with us.
Yes.
It was fun reminiscing about the park and the fair.
Playing outside. Yes, the fair.
Playing outside. Drinking out of a hose that, first of all, was 1,000,000 degrees when you first took
Yeah,
a
you got to
drink.
let all that run out. And then it was nice and cold
You
after that.
burned your mouth first, then
Right.
you got cold water. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways. Alrighty. So we should let people know that next week we will not have a new podcast because
Okay.
I'm not going to be able to hop on here and record with you, but hopefully the week after that we
Yeah,
will. So
definitely.
a little bit of a hiatus, but we have to do adulting things,
Right.
unfortunately. So
Yeah.
alrighty. Well, until next time, B2. Cheers.
Cheers.